Hey everybody, my name is Jenna Lemire, and this is my first ever collective sort of yearly prediction energy update forecast for 2023. And I have a unique form of divination called charm casting. This is my little charm casting bag. My friend Kim makes these, and I will leave her information under in case you want a charm bag or something like this. Um, and before starting this today, as I checked in with my guidance, I wanted to see if there was any just overall messages that were maybe not associated with charms. And what they told me was the biggest thing is having to do with being willing to stop at any time that we notice our nervous system going, ah. And like right now, I'm not actually talking to anyone. I'm just filming this by myself and I'm a little uncomfortable with that. So it would be the example of like right now, if my energy is like, of me stopping and saying, oh, excuse me a second, I need to just kind of breathe. Not only does that help me, but they're trying to let me know how much that actually helps other people by the example of like just being able to stop yourself in the middle of talking. To do that allows other people to kind of pay more attention to their own nervous systems and be able to stop when they're talking to take a breather too. And that is one of the biggest messages for the year, is how much we're actually, by taking care of ourselves more publicly, it allows for other people to have the permission to feel like they can take care of themselves too. So they also surprised me a little because typically I have different categories for charm castings that are like, health and wellness and romance and friendships and all that kind of stuff. But for this today, they had me like draw out like a little circle with all the months. And I'm going to be pulling charms that are representative of all the months. So the exciting thing about that is that this isn't just a reading you're going to hear at the beginning of January and like forget the whole rest of the time. You're going to be able to sort of have some little charm to hang on to in your mind or write down on your own calendar or in your journal or something, that each month, based on what we do here today, you're going to be able to have something that kind of continues on throughout the whole year. And what I'm super excited about is to see how it unfolds and how you can continue to come back to this video and comment like, oh my gosh, back in January when you were talking about July, you said da-da-da, and this is what's going on for me. And I can't wait to hear how this is applying to you in your life. So in a second here, I'm going to take some breaths and start pulling the charm. So I'll meet you back in just a second. All right. Ladia Komadayate Alaname Peria Siriana, Karia se Amose Perianai, Akaramo Seriatai, Laniaki Shiriamo Parai, Kariaki Nana Mona La Periase, Lanease Tikiriamose, Niriashi Tukuramari, Area Kashariama, Lare Ananaki, Sariate Aladia Mokorea se, Kariamo Saria. Kariamo Serea, Lariasi Academy Atata Ishiriada, Olanama Kariamo Ishiria, Paramo, Hasiriana, Okaria, Adone. So we're going to start with January. And there's a couple charms that went with this one. The first one is I did the laundry. And so this is where we're starting, in that there's a couple things coming through with this. The first one is basically giving ourselves permission to really honor what we may think are the little things in things like even just doing the laundry, as being like allowing ourselves to feel successful, allowing ourselves to know that that's a beautiful self-care thing to be doing, and to try not to make that seem less than something else that we're doing with our time. So that's the first thing, is knowing that, there's a lot of programming that each of us have that feels like we need to be productive. And then there's this template of how we need to be in the world. And so sometimes we don't put enough attention on just knowing that we can feel successful by doing things like as simple as doing our laundry. So there's that part of the message, but they want me to also mention the other part of the message, which is we may actually believe that we like have to put away our laundry because it's just what you do or what they say to do or what has been instilled in us. And so they want us to be looking at all of these things that we think we should be doing. Because the example that I have with this that is brought up is a therapist I had once. I was telling her just like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. This is good in my life. This is good in my life. And, I even did all my laundry, but I just haven't put it away. And I'm still stressed a bit. I'm going to stop now. Even thinking about it is causing my nervous system to go, so I'm going to take a breath. And what she was told me is like, okay, well, you have roommates, right? And I said at the time, yeah. She's like, okay, is your laundry in their way? I said, no. Are there things that like are getting too wrinkled because of it? You not putting it away? I'm like, no, nothing I wear really matters in that way. It's not wrinkly. She's like, okay, do you know where it all is? I'm like, yeah, it's all just kind of like in the hamper, clean, but in the hamper, I just didn't put it away. And she looked me dead in the eyes and said, so why do you need to put it away? And I looked at her like she was crazy. I was like, what do you mean? Why do I need to put it away? Of course I need to put it away. You put away your laundry. And she's like, why? If it's not bothering anybody else and you know where everything is and it's clean and you have it available to you, why would you need to put it away? You just keep it in bins or something? And my mouth opened so wide. And I can't tell you how relieved I was that moment walking out of her office thinking, holy crap, I don't have to ever put away my laundry again in my life. And you know what? I haven't. Or that's not true. There's a few things I've hung up here and there when it feels fun while I'm listening to a podcast or that kind of stuff. And that's the other surprising thing is giving myself permission to not have to ever put my laundry away again makes it where I actually put my laundry away sometimes. Not super often. I usually just kind of put them in bins and it works for me. And it's amazing. And it just really super helped me. So this particular thing for January is you want to look through all the things where you could be relieving yourself of some pressure or where you could be like kind of cutting corners when it comes to these standards of how we feel our house has to look or what we're supposed to be doing. You want to definitely question that and give yourself credit for doing these beautiful care tasks. Give them some importance that you're taking care of yourself when you're doing your laundry so that it doesn't have to feel like such a chore or a hassle when you're doing it. So that's the first one for January. There's a second one that's coming through. Silver spoon, silver spoon, silver spoon. I keep getting that 3 times. So hold on, let me just feel into it more. Ooh, okay, this is surprising. Okay, so what this is telling me is apparently that there's a lot of people that will watch this video in particular who have an idea about money or abundance. There's some unresolved energy around how we feel about people who we deem as having a silver spoon. And until we can sort of clean up our idea of that so that we're not having any like strong emotional energy toward that being a bad thing, it's sort of like shooting ourselves in the foot in that this is an invitation also for January to look at the people in the world that seem to have been dealt a silver spoon, seem to have it easier. And there's something about us that are like, that is making it like, oh, they either they don't deserve that or they do deserve, or like they don't deserve to be happy because, or whatever. There's some kind of like they don't or do. It's something about a deservability, or it's something we're sort of chalking up to, well, yeah, they don't understand because they've been dealt this silver spoon. But this whole they situation that we're doing when we're framing in our minds these people that are like not us, guess what? In oneness, they're actually representing a part in us that we have resistance to. So January apparently is going to be a month where there's a lot of silver spoon type of energies that are coming out that we will sort of push our own energy onto. How, well, they have all this money, they don't deserve to be happy, or they're terrible people, or in other words, we're putting them in the darkness because of the money that they have. And so what we're not actually recognizing is that we're putting a part of us in the darkness that's wrapped up in money and abundance. And because we're not seeing them at a neutral place or in a place of love or oneness, we're actually shooting ourselves in our own foot. When it comes to allowing for abundance in ourselves, because there's still a push away over what we believe about people with money, people with fortune, people with a silver spoon, people that naturally had it easier than us. So we're going to want to look at the impact of that. Like, how does it make us feel when we feel this way? It could be jealousy, envy, resentments, all these kind of things, anger, frustration, all this. So we're going to want to feel that stuff purely without I feel resentful or I feel angry or frustrated at them, because then we're bringing them into the emotional scene where all we need to do is just be with the frustration, be with the feelings of envy or jealousy, impurity in our bodies, instead of with any storyline of somebody else, some mogul or that kind of thing. So being with the impact of this whole silver spoon idea, and then seeing if there's a way to neutralize the situation by knowing that ultimately we are all one, and that these people are ultimately representing something that is unhealed within us. So that would be something to look out for January, the laundry and the silver spoon situation. Okay, February, I'm getting, this is interesting. All right, so a couple things are coming in here. I just need to see which to go with. So first off, the charm that I got was this little, I don't know if you can see there. It's like an old-fashioned cart and horse. Okay, so the thing that's first coming through is they're showing me the idea of like Oregon Trail. So in February, there's going to be a lot of movement, and I get the word exodus. So there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of people deciding that they're going to want to move locations. And the reason that they're showing it to me in an old-fashioned sense is because it's not just moving in environment, and that's what it's representing. And the reason they're also giving me this in an old-fashioned thing is I'm getting the words manifest destiny, because, you know, sometimes we move for other reasons. This one is one of those big to manifest our destiny. Like it's a very like pivotal, almost like vision quest kind of movement energy along with the moves. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to move for a new job, or I'm going to move because my rent's up. It's like people are going to be moving into, and by making that move, it's going to give them a lot of new energy. But they wanted also for it to come out in this old-fashioned way too, because some of it will be physically moved. And for those of us who are not actually planning to physically move in location in February, we're going to still be making movements in the direction of more old-fashioned ideas. And that's why they're showing you this horse and buggy type of thing. And what that would mean is like going back to the old ways. There's going to be movement in going back to the old ways. Like there's going to be a lot of people like looking through their products they use, right? And being like, do I need 12 million creams for this particular thing? Maybe I don't need creams at all. And I'm going back to like vinegar, baking soda, and, you know, whatever else that people were using back then. So there's a big movement for either, again, people moving, leaving certain areas. And for those of us that are not, we're going to be making more old-fashioned ideas, going more back to the land. There's a lot of preparation energy for spring, and a lot of people are going to be making huge changes in, this is the spring I'm for sure going to plant and start doing some of my own, you know, going back to the land things, going back to different products, going back to different recipes, going back to more recognize, you know, hand-me-downs. And they're saying right now, they want us, because that can maybe freak some people out, or thinking, oh, there could be panic in that for those futurists in us that are really liking what we have. They're saying that this is in an updated version, and that there's massive amounts of creativity being brought to us in this. So this is not a damper thing. And a lot of people have this, we're going into a depression feeling. And they're saying that, yes, there's going to be things pulling that there's a lot of that kind of energy and feelings and stuff that we all need to feel that come from that frame of the depression stuff, but that it's not going to feel or be the same as our ancestors that went through it, because we are at such a different level of consciousness and understanding about things, that we're all very highly creative beings. And so we're mixing creativity with the old ways, which will make it a modern twist and actually super fun. So this is not a bad thing in any way, but it's about moves and going back to the basics and making a big move in how we do that as a collective. See, now I get so excited when I'm doing this. So giving the example that it is okay to breathe with another person and center ourselves together. Okay, March. I want to make sure not to just take this literally. Okay, they're saying to take this a little bit literally. Okay, March is having to do a lot with credit, and they are showing this little Visa. I don't know if you can see it, but it basically is like a little charge card, like a Visa. So March is going to have a lot of, I need to mention this too. This charm came out, the lightning bolt, but when it did, it kind of came in between March and April. And so they're wanting me to add it to this one and to April, which is just meaning quick, really quick, lightning fast things. But in particular, March is going to have a lot of credit energy. And they're showing me this in a very dual way, in that there's not a lot in between. In other words, there are going to be people that feel maxed out in their credit to where it's not going to feel as safe for them, in that they'll have maxed out their cards, in other words, at that point. But they want the message for anyone that faces that the only reason that that's happening is to test out and allow you to know that you're bigger than the situation that you're afraid of when it has to do with that, about the credit. So yeah, basically it's kind of like, oh my God, what would I do if I didn't have enough money for blah, blah, blah? Well, you'll have to get in that situation to not have enough money for blah, 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 to then get past it, to know that you can. And then shortly after, you recognizing, well, I'm still living and breathing, even though this crappy thing I've been in so resistance to happening has happened, to where there is something where either like a bankruptcy will happen or something. But I am seeing a lightning bolt of it being exonerated once you're willing to surrender to the worst case scenario when it comes to feeling up to here with credit. So that's the one end of it. But then the other end of it is the people that have already kind of been through that enough times in their life where it's been getting really close and they're like, oh my God, am I going to do this again? But then they have the memory of, well, I have done it before. I did do that surrender. I know I'd not like it to happen, but I understand that I will be okay. For those who have already been through that enough times, the reason that the credit symbols coming through is that it's about getting due credit, or like finally getting credit for a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of I'm seeing like windfall type of things. There's going to be a lot of abundance available to those who have already worked through their kind of like shadow work or their emotional experiences when it came to lack and to fear. If you've already had your feet wet on that and have been exploring that for years and feel like you have kind of made it through it enough times, this would be a month for you where it's due. But either way, if you haven't, you're like, oh my goodness, it looks like it will be a lot of opportunities to be faced with some of those anxieties. But know that it's coming for you, not to you. You're not a victim in this. It's coming for you so that you can be there and breathe through whatever anxieties are. And only in that happening is the thing that's going to allow you to recognize your strength, by actually being in the position of like, wow, I don't know what to do here. And I'm really just going to surrender to the now moment, surrender to my guidance, surrender everything. And then it's showing getting to the other side and an exoneration. So most everyone by the end of March will have been in a very different situation that feels like much more relief going all of March and into April. It looks like April, there's also a lightning bolt. There's going to be a lightning bolt of this here is, let me see, a little baby angel. By the way, I have adult angels in my charms too, but this one's a baby angel. My guess is, let me just see, yeah, is that they're kind of showing, because there's a little bit of March in this too, sort of like Aries energy. They're showing a baby, they're showing an angel. So there's a massive amount of people waking up and are going to be newly awakened to their own divinity. And so watch out for this. These are not watch out like in a warning way, but like there's going to be a massive amount of people who kind of have a new understanding and are sensing more of oneness. And again, it's coming through as this just kind of like Aries energy, like just the beginning. It's a very big beginning energy. They're showing with the wings because it's a multidimensionality to it. Along with this too, it's showing that the wings also, in that there may be some people exiting this plane in April. Might be kind of a big month for people passing who are ready to, which I know isn't always easy on the the ones that are still here. So I'm feeling a lot of energy with this. Hold on. I'm gonna breathe. What's coming through right now is, even though it's looking like an ending to us on this plane, they're still wanting us to all recognize that this is still beginning energy. It's either people waking up on Earth and having sort of this, not second chance, but like they might see it that way, like this second chance energy of like being able to live in a different perspective of Earth, different paradigm, sort of this new Earth sort of energy. But they, and we'll feel grief and loss for those, of course, who have passed. But they're also saying that just because somebody's off this planet, that they're having also the same sort of awakening by their passing. So they want us to just see it all across the board as everyone being awakened in their own way, up to and including awakening themselves out of the dream and into kind of their own ascended self through actual physical death. So they're showing a lot of relief in that there may be a lot of people who've been pretty suffering for a long time, who've been kind of asking for their bodies to be recycled into something new. So yeah. So I'm definitely seeing and feeling the aftermath of how that affects us. But there is also a new energy, like let's say people from very different paradigms, let's say our grandparents, our parents pass, people, aunts, uncles, that kind of thing, that were of a very different generation. There is something about them being in a different dimension that is actually allowing us, with how the frequency of the lived earth is getting to now, to be even closer in frequency with them by their passing than we would have had in the gap of what their belief systems held from, like, you know, being here in the 40s or whatever. Anyway, and so just know that even though they may be passing out of this realm, that there is a greater ability for us to actually connect energetically with them, to where we will feel closer possibly with them in this new state than we did or could with them being physical. So take that how you can. Don't kill the messenger. Okay, I'm gonna breathe. Okay. Okay, so May has two different things here. First, we have a little baby, and this baby's got pink diapers, and without, you know, having to have, you know, I hate the having to box things into like gender roles or whatever, but I do have little symbols. And so the pink diaper represents feminine, or, you know, when we look at like inside of us, which themes to sort of look at. And so May is bringing up, again, they're showing the angel was in April, that newness, but they're keeping it in the baby because they're showing April into May as being this time of infancy or reemergence of the feminine energy. So they're wanting us to see what feminine energy looks like in a baby, as far as just being so receiving. The other one that came, so there's the little baby, and then there was just this little thing that says, I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, it's not really, it's inscribed, it says belief. So not believe, it's belief. I don't even remember where I got this term, which you would think would come in fall. I don't know. There might be more on this. I'm just going to put it down right now and go with, we'll see. Okay. So we're going to go back to the baby. The baby part is, yeah. So we're basically learning to crawl out of an old paradigm and get more into the play and receiving and softness and connection. And yeah, I'm just getting the word play. There's much play energy, and we're getting acquainted with feminine energy having a lot more access to the world, less resistance around it. That waking up thing that happened the month before, well, I mean, it's been happening, but you know, that's the big thing. There's something about that gives kind of a release into May, to where it's going to feel freer and easier to let the feminine energy, I'm getting like let your freak flag fly or whatever. So the feminine freak flag fly. There's a lot of this energy that has been so squished for so long, that there's sort of this rebirth, and we're all sort of learning to crawl and test out through play and joy and receptive energy. Collaborative energy is going to be really super big, kind of end of May, April into May. Lots of May energy with that. And again, they're bringing back to the word believe. Okay. And so believe just means that it's about like believing in the future, believing in the ability to be strong in our feminine energy. The reason I guess they're showing me the leaf part of it is because they're showing that so much of these other things have been seeded for so long, and that the May is like this energy of like actually the leaves, starting to actually be seen on the stuff that has been kind of under the soil that we haven't, we've been planting and watering for a long time and been really patiently hoping to see a change. And now it's like actually like boop, starting to come up with some, the believing we've had of the watering and the faith that we've had is going to let things come up and be really starting to be seen in a new way come May. Okay. All right. So hold on, let me see what this is meaning. Watching. Hold on. Okay, taking a breath. Okay. All right. So they gave this as a symbol for June. And so what's coming through on this is sort of how the idea of the evil eye is sometimes symbolized similarly to this. There's also sort of some energy, it being like a blue-eyed thing that might be attached to colonialism, that kind of stuff. And I'm getting the word evil eye still. Hold on, I'm still trying to make sense of this. Oh, okay. Okay. So showing a lot of healing being brought up when it came to colonialism and some of the evil doings. And okay, and they're telling me to kind of put it here. This is funny. Okay, so they're saying that there's lots of symbolism with the eyes. So just knowing that there may be some more themes coming up when it comes to how certain systems have been in place for a really long time that have massively impacted other groups in the world, and how a lot of that is going to be seen in new ways. There's going to be a lot more balance coming through when it comes to the evil energies that a lot of people have been seeing around there. There's a lot more softness. And again, this is attributing to so many more people waking up and being putting some of these practices, they're pounding the pavement more with it. It's not just concepts that we have about how we want to show up differently in the world, but the reason that the eye also is they're showing externally, like more planetary stuff will be done about it when it comes to retributions, those kind of things. There's a lot of positive energy, a lot of healing opportunities when it came to damages that were done in our past. So yeah, I don't know much more about that other than it feels like this has been coming around a lot in the last, anything that's been in our subconscious and that we don't want to look at has been really pushed down. And so as it's come up, because it's been pushed down so much with resistance, it's almost like some of the things that had to happen regarding before, because it was so pushed down, had to come up with big force, like a lot of dramatic things needed to have happened in the past to allow for us to actually see what was going on and kind of like wake up the blue-eyed, if you will. And so this is more like the waking up of that, and taking, again, instead of the concepts just being like in the mind of like, wouldn't it be nice? There's going to be a lot more action And again, I'm just getting sort of retribution. And then the energies around some of the skin color divides feels a lot softer this coming June, because it feels like there's a break in actually some stuff being done about it that we've been kind of waiting for a long time. So this is also an invitation too, and I need to say this as a white privileged woman to anybody that is following me. Of course, every month, every day, let's look at this, but especially in the month of June too, because this is the symbol we're going to be looking at there. I want you to look at all the different ways in which you can make different decisions when it comes to BIPOC community that is more action oriented. I'm getting a big shoulder tap, which means you too, Jenna, you got to do this. In that there's just so much more that we can do. Like, our hearts have been in the right place. Our mind has made a lot of sense about what is needing to happen in these respects. But come June, there's going to be a lot more giving, a lot more equality, a lot more equanimity, and action steps that we'll be able to do in the physical that will be able to make a big difference and help feel a lot more balanced. And to please take up this invitation to do what you can and show up differently in the world than our ancestors did, and learn from that. Okay, so July is looking like a pretty darn good month, in that this is a wildly abundant month. We like this one, don't we? This isn't just representing money, but it has to do with abundance. A lot of abundance under energy is coming in July. There's two charms that came through on that. The other one that came through is the symbol that I have that's like a dream catcher. And this is representing, oh, it's going to be different than I thought. Hold on, getting a correction. Okay. Okay, it's a little of what I thought, but then there's something to add. Okay, so they say to just say the first thing. Okay, so the first thing is there's so much we can gain from our dream time that we don't even recognize. So this is an invitation to really be remembering, journaling about, having some inquiry in our dreams. Okay, so that's the like kind of pat answer that they're always like, yeah, go ahead and tell anyone that, because that's a good thing. But the main one that they're wanting me to say in this is that there's going to be a feel in July. The energy that's happening there is going to feel very dreamy, very surreal. There's a lifting because of all the work that we'll have done all this beginning half of the year, that there's this like lifting energy that is getting real dreamy. I feel like there might be some other topics or things that come up that might make it easier to feel like we're a dream, or like, for, you know, whatever belief system somebody has, whether they believe they're in a simulation, whether they believe that there's, you know, alien type of, it does feel like there's a lot going to happen this year when it comes to, you know, AI, aliens, things like simulation, or things that question how we view what we thought reality was. And the result in it is going to be a very dream-like energy where time gets real weird. I'm seeing a big shift in how time is being seen in July. Dreamlike, it feels really good. I'm getting kind of the sense in my body of a little bit of like euphoria and a little bit of like a buzz feeling, like when you're drunk or something, or when you're maybe on psychedelics, or but in a good way. There's nothing like, it just feels really good and euphoric. There feels like this real oneness feeling. There feels like a lot of abundance. Because sometimes you can feel like you're not grounded or in a dreamlike thing and have some paranoia with it. Like, what the hell's going on? This just feels clean and clear and very fun and abundant, and like a breather from a lot of this other stuff in the coming year. But yeah, that's a big message there. Along with, of course, we can always then do more dream analysis too, and get benefits from the dream time there. But the main thing is just like, yeah, they're showing me also like a very cyclical thing when it comes to time. It'll almost feel like we're big time travelers, and that like one day to the next we can like have massive dramatic shifts. And they're showing me an example of like almost if you feel like you've eaten kind of crappy food, and you know how like sometimes you'll feel like, oh, I ate this bleh, and I feel bloated and gross, and like, at least for me, I like pick my skin, or like my odd breakouts when I'm just like eating like crap, or like things that don't feel good for my body. And then it used to be that you had to construct something in your mind of like, okay, so I've been feeling like crap, so I need to, for the next 2 weeks, diet and do this and do that and do this. And we had to see this like long chronological thing of like paying our dues to then wake up and see the improvements in our body and start to feel better. They're saying that July especially is not going to be like that. We might have a day where we're feeling like that really crappy feeling, but then we can like wake up the next morning and as if we've like, oh my God, I feel like I've lost 30 pounds. My face feels clear and I have a bunch of energy. So we're not going to be as subject to that time delay. As far as seeing the differences in like how we're showing up as our character, we're not going to need like weeks to show up as like a different version of ourselves, because we'll have a better handle on how to kind of like navigate the idea of like time travel, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, pull this back up again, listen to this every month, and then please comment at the bottom too about like where you are, how this was for you. Oh, this will be so fun. I can't wait. Maybe we should make a group or something of people that heard this somewhere so that we can talk about it more. But yeah, it just feels like there's lots of this wild, like bouncy, I'm seeing like, like the crooked houses and things where like there's almost optical illusions. There's just a lot of energy of like quantum time travel, things getting real goofy. I see like a lot, again, like UFO or alien stuff happening that's maybe questioning people to where like, I don't even know where the hell I am anymore. I don't know what dimension I'm in, but it also feels free and euphoric, and it doesn't have that paranoia feeling. It just feels like fun. And really super abundant. So yay for July. Okay. Now, well, I never like to give readings where there's any sort of like warnings or any fear, because I always know if there's something really fearful in something that there's got to be a distortion, because that's just not how my guidance has ever talked to me. And so I'm just, there's a couple of things that have come out in August that's interesting, and I'm trying to make sense of them. The first one is an ambulance, which usually has to do with emergencies. And then there's also a shark, and the shark represents the idea of a hostile takeover is like the message that I have associated with that particular charm. So it feels like August might be a contrasting month in comparison to July, in that July is really big. And then it's almost like we will experience a lot of this heaven on earth feeling in July, to where we'll have other events that maybe happen in August that are kind of like the idea of like just a shark. There is this beautiful shark, but then all of a sudden it can bite and feel almost like this hostile takeover or like this surprise energy. And then the fact it came through too with like this emergency thing, it doesn't mean, okay, guidance are fully coming in right now, wanting everyone to know that this is nothing to worry about, nothing to panic about. But that there is sort of an energy of kind of any lasting things around surprise or shock, or things that have seemed like an emergency in the past, and yet how quickly and easily we're able to work through it. It's almost like July is this heavenly feeling. There's going to be something more in August to like pull us back to kind of like some of our old patterns that are some of the most intense ones. But then they're showing us, okay, hold on, they're saying that there's a little bit of September energy here. Oh, okay. So the September energy, so this is August going into September, is there's a little deer, and they're wanting that to be part of this too. So that energy in this building on it, and because they're showing us like this deer in headlights kind of shocking thing that will bring up stuff like almost a sense of an emergency kind of a thing with a deer in headlights. They're also directing me to, because there was 2 for September. So they're saying like the first part is all of that, but they really want everyone to see this. This particular one came through. This says yay. So what that means is that if anything, it's not, I keep wanting to say the word test, and the universe doesn't test us. It's not like we have to pass something to be good or anything like that. But what's coming through with this is like, it's almost like because we get this taste of like really feeling heaven on earthy, it's almost like then we're showing up with like, okay, these are the old patterns we've been having forever. This is the new self and way of being in the world. And that we've gotten a little used to it in July, that then August will come and kind of be like, are you sure? Because here's all this other stuff that is really freaky and like shocking and this and that. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to be able to maintain this version of you that was there in July, that you felt abundant and you felt free and you felt like your highest, truest version of yourself? How much of that are you able to hold when faced with this other stuff? It feels like this other emergency stuff doesn't last for very long. It's maybe like half of a month or a couple weeks or whatever. It also doesn't, or they're showing me that some of it will be external stuff for some people. Some of it will be just internal kind of stuff. And it just depends on kind of how, I don't know, is it introvert or extrovert we are, or how much we are in our minds or this or that. But there's definitely stuff that will come up again, but they want to remind us that if we can maintain the more truth energy we had in July, that will just absolutely kind of also, they're mentioning that it will surprise us. There's another element of surprise on how easily we are able to see that we can maintain this more truth energy through what can look scary or shocking or like a hostile takeover kind of energy on the external. And it is the, hey, no matter what happens, I'm not going to be swayed. I'm going to keep bringing that through. And then they're just showing me the yay again. It's like everyone makes it through really well. And it's by making it through that with all that other energy ahead of time that kind of pulls it through and gives us all enough confidence to really, they're just showing me more of like a leveling up sort of feeling, sort of like an upgrade in our phones. It's like, it's another, like, again, there's no evaluation, but if there were, it would be like, we all passed the test. There's nothing, they definitely want everyone to know there's nothing to worry about. It's that we have been primed and ready with all the energy to be able to prove it to ourselves, because that's all we ever really are doing anyway. We're proving it to ourselves that we are generally more that truth energy. And those final like distortions and stuff will be met easily, and we'll be surprised at how easily. And then, yay. Okay. All right. So when it comes to October, okay, so that was September, was the deer in headlights, and then the yay. The yay feels like sort of more of the end, middle half. Well, it can be yay the whole time, but yeah, I'm getting that. Okay, hold on. All right. So then October energy, I'm getting, this feels like a busier time than normal because I'm getting an octopus. Okay. So what they're saying is that come October, oh, okay, they're wanting me to hold this up too. This abundance thing is coming through too. Oh, okay. So they're changing it from what I thought. Hold on. Because usually the octopus represents just having like being multitasking and having your hands in everything. They're saying it still is that, but in a not overwhelming way. They're showing, they wanted me to pick up the abundance thing in July again. So what that means is instead of us having our hands in, or our tentacles in lots of different things in overwhelm, they're showing us feeling, because of that surprise hostile takeover and us taking that energy through, they're showing us having tons of like countless opportunities of where we can derive abundance, freedoms. Yeah. Oh, this feels very different than the octopus has in other things. Yeah, they're just saying like almost an overwhelming amount of great opportunities. And then the other one that comes through, there was another term for October, is a little, this is a sewing machine. And so the remedy for this overwhelm for us for October is, because there's so many opportunities, just know that the universe is never going to give us more than what we can handle by staying in the now moment. So sometimes it'll feel like so overwhelming that they're showing me the deer in headlights too. Like we don't know where to start. And so the advice sort of for that is in the sewing machine is they're just like seeing the, like the row of how you're sewing being kind of in a straight line, and how each stitch needs to go like one stitch at a time. So they're saying that even though it's like, oh, I got this opportunity and this opportunity, oh my gosh, am I going to let them go, this or that? They're like, stay on the course, take every little bit of the most excitement as it comes, stitch by stitch. Keep your eyes sort of there, knowing, but not that you're not going to miss these opportunities. It's almost like I can right now, this stitch, what feels fun? It feels fun for me to do a little bit of this opportunity today, Cool. So you do that. And the old template of how we were taught is that like, you got to finish this till the end. But they're wanting us to know that, it's going to untangle in different ways than we expect. And so we might do, and they're giving me an example in my life. Like for instance, I might one day work a little bit on an album, music album, like a meditation album, for part of the day. And then you'd think that, well, I need to spend the rest of this week finishing my album or something. They're like, no. Then the next stitch might be like, okay, now make a meme and put it out on social media. And then the next stitch might be, now go do a live term testing, or the next one will be this or this. So they're saying that the octopus arms that are everywhere is going to seem like, oh, I need to follow this arm and finish it to completion. But they're wanting us to get more used to following our highest excitement than having to complete something, because our energy might be really happy to do a portion of the song, but not happy to edit it or something. Whereas there might be another day in the future where editing frequency wise is going to feel better. And so to allow ourselves to be a little bit more hands in everything, picking up, putting down, picking up, putting down. And then they're just like, da, 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 and that's going to be the thing keeping us in line, is we're just going to do a little bit of each thing, and to keep right in that now moment, following our highest excitement. And that they're saying, if we can do that, that eventually, after a bit of time, they're even saying in October, there's going to be a lot of stuff that we freakishly get done in ways that we had no idea, to where by the end of the month, it'll be like, oh my God, because I follow my highest excitement, and I didn't just like have to lock onto this idea for the whole month, even when I didn't feel like doing stuff, that actually everything by the end of the month will be like, oh my God, I got all of that done. And now I have so many different containers or ways to make income or get abundance or connections and that kind of stuff. So that's cool. All right. November. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So November is coming around, and we've got a little porcupine that came through for this. We have a porcupine and an elephant. And the first thing that's coming through here is that there is a revisit. It's almost like we have like a really good month, bad month, or not bad month if we judge them, but like a challenge that's coming up. So it looks like October feels like another really big kind of abundant, lots of opportunities thing, which we just mentioned. But then November, this is feeling like the theme is going to be, we don't go to porcupines for a hug, but we also don't judge porcupines for having quills, or what is it, spikes, whatever they have, okay, and they're showing me the elephant because they're saying, don't forget. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this feels like a month where we will have another opportunity, which doesn't surprise me that it's sort of a holiday month or whatever, to revisit some people that maybe are living differently than what we've been used to all year, and then having that dreamy stuff in July, and being just on a totally different landscape of Earth. But it feels like November is another thing. They're showing forget the elephant, like as in memories. So there's people from the past that are going to come back in and be available to us again to communicate with. And what they want us to do is, this is going to be about kind of like boundaries. That's why they're showing also porcupine is like having a boundary around it, in that there's going to be people attached with our memories that have had trauma memories stored in us for a long time, that we've done our work on, to the point where we're going to be able to actually be in the same room again with those porcupines, but with the new understanding and boundaries that they're a porcupine, and the futility that we once held of trying to get them to soften and be the one to hug us, to be the one, like, they should be different. They should have done this. This is how a parent should act, or this or that. We're going to be so much more equipped to just be like, they're a porcupine. That's not who I go to for my hugs. That's not who I go to for my nurturing, maybe. But I also am not judging them anymore for being a porcupine, and I'm letting them be the porcupine. And because there's not that resistance of how they should have acted differently in the memories, the elephant, that the resistance of that kind of breaks up and makes it where we can be in the same place and actually have a better relationship. They're also saying that at that time, they're wanting me to bring up the thing I started this with, as far as the stopping and kind of taking that breath of like, they're showing me an influence. We're going to be a great influence on the porcupines of the world, the ones that, lipstick, the ones that maybe have a little harder shell or have a little harder time. Ones we may have labeled narcissistic, ones we may have put labels on like that, that they're going to be having witnessed all of the same kind of stuff we've gone through this whole coming year, to where they're going to be in a very different place than ever before. And that once we pull back any of our actual resistance about how porcupiney they are and how we just really want them to hug us and be like, you know what, I'm good. I don't need a hug from them for me to know my own worth and that kind of stuff. We'll have again processed the memories and the traumas we've had and been holding on to the porcupines in our lives. That feels cleared, and it feels like, okay, I'm going back to this. So when we're around them, we're going to be the example of this new world energy in a way that actually helps them. And we might actually, believe it or not, get a hug out of a porcupine that when their quills aren't spiky. So we're going to be able to have a lot of headway on people of our past that we once had trauma with. This feels really good. And they're wanting to point at the elephant too, because the elephant, almost said nostrils, its trunk is going up. So they're wanting me to emphasize how the memories and the things that we once, I'll never forget you, how you couldn't be the person I needed you to be. They're showing me the elephant up as in it's positive, it's worked out. It's completing these more festering memories that we've held and stored in our bodies for so long. That feels like a lot of relief. They're also going back to wanting us to know that by us all heeding all of this, and that the more that we're able to calm our own nervous system and be the example of mid-sentence, if we start to notice some of those old patterns come up, just like, oh, hold on, I feel like I need to breathe right now. Taking ownership of that and taking a breath along with the porcupines of our world, that there's much to be relating there, because we may have different spiritual ideas, or like they may be religious in a different way that we are, and that kind of stuff. And so it feels like that's a common ground thing, because everyone just breathes. Everyone knows to take a breath. Everyone can understand how when there's an engaged nervous system, or I'm in fight or flight, and how we can like relax that regardless of like our belief system. So there's something really big about anyone hearing this in a match to this material is going to be able to show up in these ways where you'll be a massive influence in what they can do with their own nervous system, which helps them soften their porcupinedness. That makes sense. Okay. All right. And then we're going to go to December. Next December. And we've got binoculars. Let me see what's coming through on this. Okay. They're showing me. Okay. Interesting. I wasn't sure if it was going to go there or not, but they are showing, they're showing stars. They're showing something more about tools or telescopes or things that are bringing a lot of things to us that we thought was in a super distant future is going to be closer than we think. So why the binoculars are the thing is like for instance, if something is light years away, what our humanness would think is, oh, that's light years away, that's never going to happen, or it's like so on the back burner kind of stuff. Well, they're showing that there's like new innovations, new tools, new ways of seeing. They are linking it to the stars, so this might have to do with galactic things or discoveries in science, that kind of stuff. But there's lots of innovation energy that is and the idea is, once we have these tools, once we have this knowledge, once we have the thing to hold on to be able to do, the point is like, what is that tool doing? It's taking something that seems super far away and it's bringing it within reach, within discovery, within it's in other words, taking something that would have been light years away right into having access. So there's massive things available to us that we didn't know would. And the example that is the closest I can be using, but they're kind of sharing, I'm not predicting that it's exactly this, but it would be something like, if someone right now could just go turn on the free energy switch and it would just be there and be up and running, like our minds might think, oh my God, in order for that to happen, the grid would have to go down. People would have to be having pandemonium for years, and it would take this long for us to blah, 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 blah. This energy, or this is symbolizing something that's giving us so much more ease than we could have even imagined because of some discoveries or innovations. It's like, and again, it feels like the closest I have with my palette right now would be like I just getting the word innovation. I'm getting something that has to do with like maybe AI or robotics kind of stuff. It may be one of those things where just like all of a sudden, like, oh, now no one has cancer, or like something that we thought was going to be many years away is brought into within our reach. It does feel like that gives a lot of hope, and it's just pulling. Yeah, the whole thing here is December is pulling the future way closer. And then they're saying too, when we get back to January, that it's almost like we'll look back at this video of Jenna. Like, I love the hat, and like, I just didn't even do my hair and stuff, but why am I saying that? Anyway, like, we'll be like almost looking back at this video and feeling like, wow, this feels like this version of Jenna and stuff feels like forever ago. Can you believe like how much happened in 2023 because of how much things were pulled forward, how much those innovations happened, how much more available things that we didn't know could be are seeming like they can be now. Cool. That's exciting. Okay. Oh my goodness. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I do offer charm casting readings. I can do a one for you where we can do every one for the month and see if it might be a little bit different for you. Or I also have my normal readings have to do with a little bit more like particular themes in your life. Like again, like there's we pull a charm for your friendships, for your family, for your location, for your like romance, for your money, for your health, for your connection with your own guidance and spiritual world, and then purpose. So and these, you know, they're usually about 2 hours. And I'm doing them for $150. So if you do want to have a reading, you now have a sampling of kind of how that is. You can reach me at all these places. So if you PayPal me and let me know you've paid for a reading, and then you can reach me. I'm also like Facebook and all the things. You can probably find me under my name too, but these are like my feelings coach at Yahoo. I'm doing this backwards. At Yahoo is my email. So you can just say, hey, yeah, I went ahead and got a reading from your New Year's Eve YouTube, because I'm gonna put this on YouTube. Which, by the way, if you haven't subscribed, I hate begging or asking. Don't if you don't want to, but you know how it works. It always helps out. And I don't do a lot of YouTube stuff anyway, and it's usually always funny. I try not to do a lot of weird salesy stuff. So anyway, if you want to follow me there, definitely do. But yeah, so if you want to book one, just message me and say, yeah, I bought one, and then we will schedule directly together. And they're really fun. You can just grab some tea, get in your jammies. You can bring a friend along for your reading and just make kind of a special day for you where we tap in, and it's super fun. So hopefully I'll be doing a lot more of these in the coming year, because I think it's so fun and I have these beautiful relationships with all my charms. So thank you again for listening to this collective message from my guidance for the upcoming year of 2023. And now that I have done this, I am so excited to go and see what all of my mutuals out there have done with their predictions or their energy updates or forecasts. And I'll be curious to see if what I said had anything to do with anyone else's. And I think that's really fun. And then I think too, when I put this up on YouTube, what I'll do to make it easier is like, I'm going to write down in the comments all of what the charms were of like, so I'll put like January, laundry, silver spoon, and then I'll do February, horse and buggy, back to the basics, so I'm going to recap all of it so that you'll have something that you can either screenshot or write and journal your own thing, or go ahead and put this, what we did, go ahead and put on your calendars at the beginning of it, and then remind me, like, if a month works out for you in this way or doesn't, either way, just like message me and go, oh my God, I love hearing that. I love this. And I love that this is for the whole coming year. So I'll be able to be engaging with people all year long. And I'm really pumped about that. So yay. Thank you for watching all the way through. And I love you. I will recap this and get this up before or on New Year's Day. Mwah. And yes, all the follows, all the love and support that you would like to get, I'm happy to receive. And stay tuned and we'll see what Jenna ends up doing for 2023. I'm still just following my highest excitement every day and doing stuff when it feels good and trying not to attach too much else. And stopping myself and trying to regulate as much as possible. And I invite you to do the same. Until next time, love you all. Bye.